Hi. Today is Tuesday, May the 6th, 2025, and I am all over the situation with these customer service AI people. Well, they're not people, they're AI, right? Okay. So, customer service and AI is a thing. It's been a thing for a while, but it's becoming a bigger thing. And I feel like as consumers and people who are calling for customer service when we need help with a product that we've purchased or something, we are funneled to AI or websites where there's more AI and bots and all the things, right? Okay. So the reality is that more of this is going to continue to happen. And while there are human beings available, they are becoming increasingly hard to get to. So I would love to know how you're handling this. I have seen a lot of people become extremely frustrated, like really out of control, frustrated over this. And from time to time, I've even heard myself like yelling at these recordings, like, I want to talk to a person. That doesn't help. It just makes things worse. And sometimes I think that some companies are using these AI automated, forcing you to talk to a computer for 5 or 10 minutes before you can get to a person prompts to eliminate the human connection. Like if they can eliminate a certain number of people calling in, they can minimize the amount of human interaction they have to include on their payroll. Quite frankly, I think that's a lot of what's going on. Like if they can eliminate some of the friction that's caused by customers calling in, then they eliminate having to pay somebody to deal with the issue, and they can like funnel people or force them onto their website or onto their app to get their questions answered. And sometimes that's more efficient for us too. Like sometimes it's easier for us to get our questions answered online or on an app or by a bot. I totally get that, but sometimes it's not. And sometimes it's not good for us to get our questions answered by a bot. For example, when you have a health related question or maybe a prescription related question, you want to talk to a person, and it may be not good for your health to not talk to a person, right? Okay. So I have some thoughts. Like I have created sort of a mindset around this issue. And the more I approach these customer service bot issues with this mindset, the more calm I have become and the more I have accomplished and the more answers I've gotten. So I want to share these things with you because this is kind of an approach that I've started to use regularly that has helped me stay calm when I get potentially frustrated, when I have to talk to a phone or a bot for 15 minutes before I can get to a human being, and when that's more convenient for me, and I just get more answers. And here's the thing I've found too. Listen, I am making a lot more phone calls to get assistance from companies and so forth when I'm driving. So I can't use the app and I can't log on because it's more convenient for me to do it when I'm driving. And I want to talk to a person when I'm driving and get my questions answered when I'm driving because that's what's convenient for me. And obviously, I can't be online or on an app when I'm driving. So a lot of times, I'm driving when I get these things done. So that's actually kind of one of my tips is that if you if you get up in the morning and you know you need, 5 customer service issues resolved on that day, you can kind of batch them, write down the toll-free numbers in your phone or have them in however you organize your information and your to-do list for the day. Write them down, and you can have a list of customer service phone calls that you need to make that day while you're driving. So you can dial the numbers while you're in a parking lot or at a red light or whatever, and you can just answer the questions by voice while the bot is asking you. For example, I did this today for like 3 customer service calls. They answered the phone and they wanted to know my date of birth, my address, my phone number, all that stuff. And I just answered. right? And they were like, "Did you know that you could get all your questions answered in our on our app? And did you know that we could take your number and call you back? And did you know that you could log on?" And I just listened to all of it while I was driving. And I was able to stay calm because I was driving, and it wasn't like taking away from something else productive that I had to be doing because I was driving. So that's one way that I have discovered that I can handle these annoying situations, because when I'm making the phone calls and I have a lot of stuff to do, I feel like I'm being held up. It's like frustrating. I have so much to do and I have to stop everything to make these phone calls, but I'm not stopping anything when I'm driving because I'm driving. So eventually I just answer all the questions asked by the app or by the bot, and I eventually get to a person. And I sometimes will just say, "I would like to talk to a person," or "I would like customer service, please." And usually they'll say something like, "But what exactly is your question?" And sometimes I'll just say, "I want to talk to a person." And you do that 3 or 4 times and you'll eventually get to a person. And I just do that if I want to talk to a person. And a lot of times that's faster than logging in because I'm not at my desk all day and I don't have time to do it. So sometimes I'll just do that, and that works. Another thing that I'll do is if I am at my desk and I have my phone and I want to be working or something while I make a customer service phone call, I will be working and also working through their prompts at the same time. So while they're asking me all these questions for 10 minutes, I'll just be working. I'll still be working. Or sometimes I'll be cooking. Or sometimes I'll be doing something else. Like I never make any of these phone calls while I'm not multitasking. Like I don't really have to focus to get through these phone calls. I just have to answer all their questions. Once I finally get to a person, then I'll stop multitasking and I'll focus on what I need an answer to. But for all these other things, I'm not just sitting there doing nothing, going through their prompts. I'm usually always doing something else. So I can be smiling, well, because I'm doing something else. I don't have to stop being productive while I'm going through all these prompts. And that's what kind of calms me down. So I'm not wasting time going through all these prompts. I'm actually getting something done while I'm waiting for a real person to get to me to get my questions answered. So I have some thoughts though. When you finally do get to a person, there are some things that I think we need to keep in mind that are really important, because unfortunately, what I find is that one of the jobs of the people who do answer the phone is to hurry up and get you off the phone and to handle your issue as fast as possible. Because I think they are judged or graded because they're almost always on a recorded line. Actually, they answer that. We're on a recorded line. Not always, but frequently. And oftentimes they're graded or potentially graded on how quickly they can handle your issue and get you off the phone. And I understand that. So one of the things that we need to do if we're tracking an important issue or something that's really important to us, like maybe a health related issue or whatever, is we have to keep really good records, because if we have to follow up on our issue, the chances of us getting the same person who can actually remember us are like slim to none. And the chances of them taking really good records so that the data on their dashboard about our issue is up to date and correct is also not necessarily great. So you want to keep good records. Okay, so here are some things that I would like to share with you to keep in mind as you keep track of things that are important in your life. Whether this is an appliance or a health related record or a reservation in a hotel or any sort of potential dispute you may be having with your credit card company or whatever, anything like that. Keep good records. So here's a couple other things I want you to keep in mind. Now, number one, keep good records. Like take notes, write it down, whatever app you use to keep important notes for yourself, planner, piece of paper, whatever it is. Keep good notes. So number one, write down who the name of the person it is that you're talking to and the phone number that you called to get to them. So it may be important to know who you talked to, and what number you called to get to that person. And sometimes they don't give you their name. They will usually give you their first name. They may not give you their last name for security reasons, but they almost always have like an employee number or some sort of identifying number that they can give you so they can be tracked within that company. So try to get their name, but if you can't get their name, get their first name and their number or whatever identifier they have so that you can track who you talk to, and get the phone number that you use to get to them. Also ask them what department they're in. And by department, I mean, I am in the level 3 customer service department in Tampa, Florida. Like, get as much information as you can, because it may be important for you to have that level of detail about who you talk to about your issue. And you obviously want to write down the date and the time that you talk to them. Okay, those are some things there to write down. The next thing you want to ask them is, do I have like a number for this issue? Like, is there a tracking number for this issue? A customer service number, whatever they call it in their company, they usually have a name for it, and they usually give you a number, L2938, whatever it is. Write that down. So if you have to call back and track this issue, you can give them the number, the name of the person you talk to, what have you. You have all this information written down and saved for yourself. The next thing you want to do, depending on the type of issue it is, but I find I have to track these sorts of things for some important issues, is to ask them what the policy is or what the procedure is for this particular issue. So this is not always important, but sometimes it is. So for example, earlier this week, I had an issue with a medication that I'm allergic to. And my insurance was not covering the brand name of the medication. They would only cover the generic brand, but I'm allergic to it. So I can't take the generic brand. I had to get the brand name. But in order to get coverage for the brand name under my insurance, my doctor had to fill out a special form and send it to the pharmacy. All these things had to happen. So I had to make a bunch of phone calls, deal with a bunch of bots or whatever, to get this form to my doctor's office so he could fill it out so that I could get the brand name covered by the insurance. Well, long story short, I had to talk to a lot of people, but I had to find out, and this is the next tip I want to share with you, I had to find out what the procedure was for that document that the doctor had to fill out to get to the insurance company, so the insurance company could let the pharmacy know that they would cover the prescription. So I needed to know what the policy was. What was the process for all those things to get done? So I could know what triggered what. Like the insurance company sent the form to the doctor had to send the form back to the insurance company, and the insurance company had to send it to the pharmacy, and then the pharmacy would fill the prescription. I would not have known all those pieces and how they had to happen and in what order if I didn't ask, is what I'm suggesting to you. So what I'm saying is we have to be curious. We have to ask questions, because if we don't, they are not going to volunteer to tell us. They're not. They are not going to do that. So we have to be able to inform ourselves. Once we get past the bots, we get to a person, ask good questions. Write down the process. What is the process for you to get your refund? What is the process for you to get the prescription? What is the process for you to get whatever it is that you're looking for? What is the process? So that you can write down that process or remember that process so you know what happens next. Because if you don't know the process and everyone else knows the process, you're the only one who's not informed. And they're not going to assume that you don't know the process, because they all know the process. Okay, so you've got to ask step by step what that process is. And I will tell you right now, sometimes they don't know the process. They have to look it up. And even if they do know the process, they are not going to be happy and delighted most of the time to tell you all the 5 or 6 steps in the process, because that takes time. It takes time. and they're trying to hurry up and get to the next customer. So I'm just saying, you just stay calm, but make sure you inform yourself. Make sure you inform yourself. And this is something that happens a lot, and I see it happen a lot. Because I talk to people that deal with general situations like this a lot, and they say things like, why didn't they tell me that? And the answer is we have to ask. Like more and more, the responsibility and the burden is on us to ask the right questions. And we have to set our minds up to do that. Like we have to really be more of our own advocates today than we've ever had to be before. Because the more bots and the more AI agents that are presented to us to be our assistants, that companies are using to help them do their jobs, the better we have to be at doing our jobs of taking care of everything we need to do to take care of ourselves. They're not going to take care of us. We have to take care of ourselves. And we have to be our own advocates and even do a better job at being our own advocates too. We have to do it with a smile, because what we don't want to do is upset ourselves and increase our blood pressure and become so frustrated that we don't get what we need to get done. And we spend so much time in this frustrated state that we not only don't get the answers that we need, but we don't ask the right questions that we need to ask to get the right answers. And then we don't get everything else that we need to get done. The other things, after we handle the bots and the situation, the customer service issue, we don't get the other things in our lives done that we need to get done. So I have embraced the notion, first of all, I use AI myself. I do. And I use it as a tool. I use it as an assistant, like an extension of my life, an extension of the things that I have to do. So I welcome it. I embrace it. I'm learning how to use it. And I understand that companies need to use it. And so I am learning how to allow them to use it in a way that doesn't frustrate me, because the train has left the station. There's nothing we can do to stop it. So we have to understand that it's here and it's here to stay. And we have to figure out how to utilize it in a way that works for us as best we can. And you make it an asset. Like we have to turn it into a strength, because it's technology and it always wins. Like there's certain aspects of it that it's really clear. Companies are using it. They're going to keep using it. And we are going to have to make sure that their use of it does not that we integrate it into our lives in a positive way and don't let it become something that becomes a negative in our lives. We have to do that, because if we don't, we're going to get the short end of the stick, because they're not going to stop using it. They're going to keep using it. And we need to learn how to use it in conjunction with them, so that we are using it together to benefit us. And then we also, of course, we have to learn how to use it for ourselves too. So those are my thoughts and ideas on using AI as the recipients of customer service with a smile. That's what I think. I would love to know what you think. How do you deal with these bots and chats when you are expecting and hoping to actually talk to someone who can help you, but you either can't get to them or it's hard to get to them, and you have to stay positive, because that's the best thing to do, is to not to get your panties in a snit, right? And to really do your best to just embrace what's coming, stay productive, stay positive, get the answers to the questions that you need with as little friction as possible and as little aggravation as you can possibly manage to get what you need with. That's a challenge of life, isn't it? But we can do it, right? We can do it. Times they are changing and we have to change with them. So let's do that. Let's do that together. All right. I'd love to know what your thoughts are. What do you think of these suggestions and these experiences? I know you're experiencing them too. Let's talk about it in the comments, and I will see you tomorrow.